of rainwater in the pipe. And utilizing the pump, it will pump up the rainwater and drain to the Hakata Bay. So we have been developing those hardwares and facilities, and since that, we have seen no major damage thanks to those hardwares. But not only the hardwares, we need to work on the softwares, and let me share with you what we have been doing. So this is the Fukuoka City website, and then we have some learning contents on our website. And the contents for making preparation, and the contents for making action in case of that. And we have a hazard map page. And on the website, you can check the hazard map. And we also have a paper-based hazard maps. What is available online? You can carry with yourself on your smartphone, and you can always check the contents whenever you want. For the paper-based, people who are not good at using the personal computers and smartphones, it's highly usable to those people who prefers paper-based. This is the paper-based. Although we have the same information, we try to offer many information even with the paper-based map. The same, this is the tsunami, web-based and paper-based maps. So in the paper map, we try to reflect and insert all the information available. And this is the tidal wave hazard map. And this is the paper-based, paper version. So how do you need to evacuate in case of tidal wave? We also have English, Chinese, and Korean languages available. This is the inland flood, inland water flood. As explained in the rainbow plan, in case of heavy rain, the water is flooded from the river and go into the city area. And this is the paper-based map to inform the citizens what you need to do in case of the disaster. And there was a revised guideline, and this is the once in 1,000 years occurrence, probability of occurrence in the year is 1 out of 1,000, and this is the assumed maximum rainfall based hazard map. So it's highly unlikely that we are going to have this kind of rainfall very often, but we utilize the past weather observation data and create this kind of hazard map. And this is also a paper-based. All the evacuation centers are identified in the map. How long? And well, this is the height of the hazard, and we have an illustration to really explain easily how would the hazard and impact be in case of flood. And this is for the well, in the hazard map, we try to make it simple and easy to understand. So as you can see here, which timing do you need to evacuate, and how bad the impact would be? You can identify your area and identify your risk and your chance of getting the impact. We also have the same information, including the learning contents on our website. And this hazard map, utilizing the hazard map, we make sure that how do you need and how to use the hazard map, and how can you evacuate in case of disaster? So how can we secure the safety of the citizens? This is our main focus in creating those tools and information. And mutual help and self-help and public help are necessary, and we try to assign leaders in each region to initiate those activities. So first of all, you need to help yourself and also mutual help within the community and get the public help. So we need to do all three so that we can be more resilient to this climate change and the natural disaster. Thank you very much. That concludes my presentation.
Thank you very much. Next, Mr. Noriyuki Fukai from Miracle. Hello, nice to meet you. My name is Fukae from Miracle. Can you hear me okay? Yes, I can hear you. But could you make your presentation full screen? How's this? How's this? We can see the screen, but it's still not yet full screen. But we can see it quite clearly, so if it's difficult, then we can do it this way. Because my cursor is not moving. Today, I am from the paint manufacturer. So climate resilience cities, in order to achieve these cities, what can paints do? I would like to present today. So I'm on the next page. Do you see the next page? No.
スライドショーはできませんですか？
Can you use the slideshow? So maybe we can do it on our side. Okay, I'll try once more. Is it working? Can you try to turn the page? No, I don't think so. So can the secretariat help me? Okay. So I'll remove my screen. So sorry, I wasted your time. No, that's okay. So what can paints do to tackle the climate change? Next slide.
So
we have the paints. For the construction roofs and the paints to be applied to the roads. So in any case, high reflectance is needed, and this is the number one thermal characteristics. And as you see in the slide, low thermal conductivity and high solar reflectance, high emission. So number one effect comes from the power to reflect the high solar. This is the cross-section of the miracle coating. You can see that there's a special pigment, hollow microspheres, and so that the solar reflectance can reach its maximum level. Next page. This is the slide, the application of miracles. Left top is warehouse in Japan, and next to that is a factory in Vietnam, and the right top is a school in Philippines, and the bottom left is a factory in Japan. But there is the one with and without infrared camera. As you can see, our company, so the portion that has our paint applied is in blue, so it's cool. And then our right-hand side is factory in Guam. So in various countries, our product is already being used. Next slide. One more. So miracle. So in the case you apply this on the rooftop, high pressure water is applied, so you have to clean that to make the roof clean. And then basically you apply the base paint. And then lastly, the surface paint. Depending on the shape of the roof, you may use a roller or you may want to use the brush. So, as you can see a big difference in temperature. This is a thermographic comparison, before and after. So, what kind of effect does a cool roof paint have? As an example, this is from a certain thesis paper. Mr. Akbari from the United States is a researcher on this subject matter. On the roof of the commercial buildings, and you can reduce emission of greenhouse gases and can reduce the emission of air pollutants. Next, please. So these are the advantages. As our company, on the roof, we apply the roof cool paints. Surface of the temperature will not be heated because of solar. So we try to not increase the temperature of the roof surface. As a result, here is the flow on the left-hand side. So reduction of heat flow from the roof into the room. So then, in the room without air conditioner, then the room temperature will not go up. And if there is a room with air conditioners, then you can reduce the cooling load. Therefore, it results in energy saving. So this is the advantage of the buildings that apply our paints. On the right-hand side is a more public treatment. So roof not getting hot means that heat will flow or through its circulation. It will not increase the temperature in the surrounding area, so we can mitigate the urban heat island phenomenon and global warming. And eventually, the right and left will get connected. That is, climate resilience cities can be achieved. Next slide, please. Next is the application of cool. So the example is from Singapore zero energy building. Top left, the building itself is zero energy. But inside the facility, there's asphalt. And that asphalt portion has our paint applied in green. On the right-hand side is within Tokyo. And then the further right is a park. And bottom left is the building, the premises of the facility. And bottom right, this is a national roads or metropolitan roads. So these are the examples of the artery roads having our paints applied. So there was a marathon, Tokyo Paralympic Marathon used this road. In Tokyo, the roads in Tokyo, more than 100 kilometers, we have this heat, thermal paints applied. This is how the construction is done. On the pavements, you can use a spray, but you can also use the rubber ray and expand the paint. Unlike with the case of the roof, you can also use the rollers. Next. So what kind of effect can you see from the roads after our paint is applied? This is from a paper written by Mr. Kinochi and others. Within Tokyo, there's 23 wards, and if the roads were painted with cool pavement materials, the air temperature at noon can be reduced by more than 0.8, and even at 2 o'clock, 0.6. So this is from 1.5 meters from the ground. So 0.8 degrees, you may think this is nothing. So this is an urban area. But coming down 0.8 degrees in the urban area is a big effect. So this is when the roads have our paints applied, what kind of effect will be there? Then reduction of surface temperature of the pavement because it will not be heated through solar. So you can reduce the surrounding temperature. So surrounding buildings. So air supply temperature will come down, so will resulting in energy conservation. And overall, the room temperature will not see the temperature increase, therefore mitigating the urban heat island phenomenon and global warming. Therefore, resulting in climate resilience cities. Next. This slide shows what happened 10 years ago. Through United Nations Habitat, there was a pilot project in Philippines at Sorsogon City. Our paints were adapted. For those living in the coastal areas, in order for them to not be damaged from typhoon, at a higher area, the buildings were built. So here, it was called core shelter. So this building has the wall made of concrete block and the ceiling is steel, made of steel. So can get easily become hot. So Miracle was applied on the roof. For a long period of time, we took measurements. The number one effect came. So at the time when the solar heat was the strongest, so the temperature of the roof compared to uncoated roof, the difference was 71.5 degrees. But if the paint is applied 42.2 degrees, so the difference between the temperature is 32.9 degrees with and without Miracle. And what about the room temperature? Uncoated room 46.2 degrees. Room with a Miracle 34.1 degrees. So the temperature difference was 12.1 degrees. So particularly this kind of buildings does not have much heat resistance, doesn't have a heat insulation. For those buildings, we can see this significant difference. Next. Well, so sorry that there was a confusion in the beginning, but thank you very much for your kind attention. This concludes my presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And then moving on to from Uchiyama Landscape Construction, Ms. Ayami Nose from the Kyushu branch. Hello, I am Nose from Uchiyama Landscape Construction. I am going to share my screen. So we can all see your screen. I am going to talk about across Fukuoka, about the step garden. This is the photo of the across Fukuoka building, the 13th floor building, and we have a greenery and plants applied in the total building, including the top of the building. And in 1 month from now, we are going to have really great trees, and which is becoming red and yellow. So we have many topics to cover, but because of the time, we want to mainly talk about the maintenance and management and monitoring, number 5 and number 6. Across in the Kyushu area, in the western part, Fukuoka Prefecture, Fukuoka City, and the Chuo Ward, Tenjin. This is the town of Tenjin, and this is across Fukuoka. On the south, we have a Tenjin Chuo Central Park. The policy for the design. So what was the requirement in the design? So we want to have an integration with the Tenjin Park and the symbolic urban landscape and create a view from the Tenjin Park to look like a mountain and offer like a relaxed space and comfort to the city. And so want to have a planting and greenery so that you can imagine the good 4 seasons of Japan. This is the cross-section of the step garden. The building has a step structure, and on each floor, the trees and the plants are applied and planted. So because of this step structure, the rainwater, even under the rain, the rain will flow in this direction and flow accordingly to the red dot line. And we have a high level of the retention and drainage. Without the rain for 1 month, you don't need irrigation. You don't need to water the plants because of the good retention and the drainage features. This is the rainwater from the drainage. To the next day of the rainfall, we have this kind of good amount of droplets and water coming out from the pipe. Fukuoka is prone to storms and typhoons, so we need to have a good measures against strong wind. So on the edges of the east to west, we try to have like evergreen plants, and in order to mitigate leaves from dropping during the autumn season, we mainly have the evergreen plants in the area. So we try to have the shorter height trees and shrubs so as to mitigate the impact to the pedestrians. So this is the countermeasure against strong wind. So on the west outside the dotted line, we try to plant evergreens. So you have leaves all the time. So 5,400 square meters is the space for the greenery. And we initially had 76 species of plants. So about 4,000 trees were planted. And about the maintenance, management and maintenance. Well, normally, the tree pruning is the major activity that we do on a regular basis. So the leaves that after the pruning, we usually incinerate that. However, across Fukuoka, cuts them into pieces so that it can be utilized as a mulching for the surface of the area. And along the aisles, in order to secure a good space for the visitors and pedestrians, we do the pruning and also the disease control, avoid spraying chemicals as much as possible, and only along pathways. Across Fukuoka Step Garden, outside on the south, we have staircases, and along the steps, you can climb up the building like climbing a mountain. Along the aisle, all the hindering branches along the aisles will be cut. And inside the trees, we try to make a good adjustment so that you can have the silence throughout the trees. And this is the area of the spraying pesticides. I'm sorry for this photo, but we have those insects and hazardous moths and insects, and we try to eliminate those creatures. However, some worms are the feeding good feed for the birds, so we try to do that in the optimum way. And the birds, and with the wind, all the seeds would be growing like a plant and into a tree, we try to take care of those plants. And not only we try to manage and have new plants and introduce new species into the area. So in 2017, we planted red and white plum trees on the step floor. We had 76 species in the beginning and when we started. And from time to time, we introduced new plants. And due to the wind, due to the birds, we had new plants. And we now have 123 species as of 2021. So we try to maintain as they are, and some will be extinct due to the weather and due to the environment, but some goes and some comes in, and we now have 123. And let me share with you about our weather monitoring. Hashizu-san from the Fukuoka city talked about the average temperature is 17 degrees Celsius, but the maximum temperature goes up to 38 degrees and highly humid, and it's quite hot during the summertime. When I go outside, I need to have like a fan attached to my clothes to stay outside. So it gets really warm and hot during the summertime. So Miracle, people from Miracle, please install the heat insulation material in Fukuoka as soon as possible. So it gets really hot during the summertime, but how about across the building? So with more plants and with more greens, the concrete part, the high temperature part, which is in red, is being reduced. In the building, this is the plan view of the across of Fukuoka on the north and west, and the south is where we have a step garden. The directions. So normally with the sunlight, the south side should be the hottest area. However, the blue is the north and the green is the south, where we have a step garden. As you can see, compared to the north side with less sunshine, and the south side, we always have sunshine. And as you can see that there is not much difference in the temperature if you compare between the south and the north. This is due to the step garden. And the visibility of greens, it has changed according to the time. When we completed the building in 1995, we didn't have much greens there. So a lot of the exposure was with the concrete. But as time goes by, in 2021, we have all the trees growing and we can barely see the concrete walls. So we talked about pesticides and the management of the insects. So in order to protect the biodiversity, we predict that the birds will come in to the area. So in Fukuoka area, the birds fly through those parks and come to this area. We have 20 species of birds which exist in our location. So this is the famous one, and which is the white-throated bunting. I'm sure that you have this white-throated bunting in the Philippines. Across the Fukuoka Step Garden, the greenery and the landscaping is quite rare even in Japan. And after 26 years, we did a survey on vegetation. And the green dots are the distribution of the greens. Initially, we have about 11,000 trees. So this is the change in the vegetation over the years. This is the soil survey, the section photo. Up to there is the artificial soil. And doing the mulching, using the crushed trees, cutted trees, and offer like apply a mulching there with the crushed trees. And we have many soil organisms to become soil to nurture the trees. So this artificial soil used to be white in color, or due to the mixture of the surface soil, the color turned into gray. So this is the frequently asked question. How about the removal of roots into the drainage? Yes, there are some roots inside the drainage, but it's not that it will impact the building. So this is the current status. The impact is not that big. So that concludes my presentation about the across Fukuoka. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ms. Nose, from United Nations Habitat is located in here. So there are a lot of staff members that visited your office from Asia. So next, Mr. Matsuo from Daiken, could you please present? Yes, we can see the screen. Thank you. Oh, my name is Matsuo. Thank you very much for this opportunity. Please take a look at this picture. This is a residential area we developed in May 2012. It is called Oginoura, consisting of 18 houses located in Itoshima City, Fukuoka Prefecture. So today, I would like to introduce to you our technology to store the rainwater that we came up with as we developed this facility. This is 2,700 square meters, and there's approximately 150 trees, and the yard is around 400 square meters and 25 square meters pond. But basically, we store water with rainwater. And also, the toilet flush water is also using our contribute to the building of the cities. We have 47 employees, out of which 33 are engineers. Now, the main topic. This is what I'd like to introduce to you. Tametotto, meaning that it's being stored. So it's been stored. And in prefecture, this is a dialect for tameru. Tametotto is a dialect. So with easy construction in a short period of time, a large amount of rainwater can be stored and used with quality that is equivalent to drinking water. And also, there's almost no maintenance. So please look at the screen. Here is the system. Rainwater. Rainwater will be collected at the roof to be stored in between crushed stones. The system was jointly researched and developed with Professor Shimatani from the University of Kyushu. So in a short period of time, what kind of construction do we do? So I'd like to show you how we constructed Tametotto. First, excavate and dig a hole. So it's 10.5 meters by 16.3 meters. Base is now 214 cubic meters. Now at the bottom and the side, install liners. and install water pipes. Now, here is the numbers. Inside all, you put in many crushed stones and full of crushed stones. And rainwater is filled in the space between the crushed stones. You may think that there is no gap in between the stones, but actually there is porosity of 50% where the water is stored. And lastly, you put the soil back in, apply the pressure on the surface, and then done, complete. It takes approximately 1 month. However, if you do it in a more efficient way, you can do it within 10 days. So here is the picture after 1.5 years. On the surface, we use as a yard. And in this underground, there is a tametoto installed. So you can use the surface portion with tametoto. So I just explained the process. So this is the first tametoto that we used. So a total of 214 square meters. And so the water storage capacity is approximately 117 cubic meters because it can store half. So what kind of effect does it have for the water to flow out when the flood occurs? In 2009, there was a flood, heavy rain in Kyushu, where 36 people lost their lives and 10,000 buildings were inundated. So we are comparing between the plain land and the tametoto installed land and how the rainwater flowed. Horizontally, the time, and vertically, the amount of water that flowed out. Red line is compared to the plain land. Tametoto is using this green line is tametoto, so the peak. During the peak time, the water flow can be reduced, and the peak can be delayed by 1 hour, approximately, when the flood occurs. Tametoto today, so stored water can be used. So this is like water use, but when flood occurs, it can be used as water management or flood control. How do you do that? So the sheet, the liner, bottom part, you will put the sheet, liner sheet, and not at the top part, so that the water will be more permeated into the soil. So tametoto, what is the water quality of the water stored in tametoto? So along with the time, the quality of the water is measured. There are lots of inspection items, one of which is general bacteria count. So this is colored. So the Japanese standard says that the count has to be 100% or less. And this is quite strict from a global standard. But look at this. Tametoto doesn't require chlorine or other drugs, but still the water quality is maintained at close to drinkable level. Why is the water so clean is a trade secret, but roughly speaking, tametoto has built biofiltration system through microorganism. Next, track record of tametoto. Number 2, in 2014, at the request of United Nations Habitat, we installed this in Laos. So this is our overseas project number 1. And again, through United Nations Habitat, again, 2017 in Laos, in 2018 in Vietnam. So for Laos, Abisan also mentioned our project. Thank you very much. In 2018, number 6, in Indonesia, Makassar, University of Hasanuddin, we have a track record. In 2019, at the request of Habitat, we built in Kenya, Kalobeye, a refugee camp, and installed the system. And the number 9, it's in color. This year in Indonesia, in the Swalash Island, 4 units of Tametoto, and currently we have the record of 10 installments. This number 1 project will be explained later. So out of these 10 installments, 5 came from the request from Habitat. We asked the Habitat, what request takes 40,000 yen to build a system to store 1 cubic meter, which means that you have to pay 4 million yen for 100 cubic meters of storage. But in Indonesia, we could, and Laos and Vietnam, we could do this in half. Number 2, short implementation period. In Japan, so if it will take approximately 1 hour to have the water storage system 100 Indonesia, Kenya, it took just 10 days. Number 3, no high skills required, but able to mobilize local labor. In Laos, Vietnam, and Kenya, 10 people worked on this, and it was their first time. They worked for 10 days, and they came up with 100 cubic meters system. So Tametoto contributes to the generation of local employment, and then the materials can be procured locally. So the basic way to do the job, we will do the planning and designing in Japan, and we don't have need to just bring with us the detergent, and then the rest we can handle everything locally. And fifthly, easy maintenance. So these are the 5 reasons why Habitat chose us. And this year, Tametoto took on a new challenge. At the request of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, NPO Copernicus Japan, with them, we did some project in Indonesia / state Shigi Prefecture. We installed 4 Tametoto. And because of the COVID-19, we didn't need to go there locally, but we were connected with them on a remote basis, and then we were able to install this. So from 3 months, 4 installments from June to September in kindergarten, football ground, elementary school, and mosque. So with this project, there were 3 steps. 1A is to find the candidate sites. B, do preparatory work. So this preparation is very important. C, construction. Every week, twice a month. This is the picture of us having a meeting. To the degree possible, and pictures so that there will be less confusion. And we checked with the pictures and were able to install 4. This is the first one, Tametoto at kindergarten. Look at their happy facial expressions. I cannot forget. And then the future Tametoto. Tametoto, as you know, it can be something that can be installed right next to you, water management and water use and prevention of floods. So through such installment, we can protect people's lives, so we can reduce other disasters, and also you can secure drinking water in a safe manner. So we want our product to contribute as urban mini dam. So we hope Tametoto will help you protect your lives. I hope you will find this useful. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your presentation.
Thank you very much, and thank you for waiting. The final presenter, some final presentation from Kurinka. We would like to ask Mr. Shinichi Umeki to give the presentation. So thank you despite your busy schedule, and floor is yours.
はい、それではちょっと画面共有をかけます。
So I'll share my screen.
で 見えてますでしょうか？
Are you able to see my screen?
はい、完璧に見えております。お願いいたします。
はい。それでは始めます。皆さん、こんにちは。
So let me start. I am Umeki from Klinka.
今日ご説明するクリンカロードは、
So this Klinka road, utilizing the coal ash from the coal-fired power plant. This is the Klinka road product. So how can we contribute to the resiliency toward climate change? And let me share with you some examples of the overseas project.
クリンカロードには、4つの
For the Klinka road, we have 4 the simple.
クリンカロードの最大の特徴は、
So the greatest feature of Klinka road is that it has the world's highest water permeability and water retention capacity. So when it rains, it absorbs instantly and stores a lot and drains slowly. This action contributes to the control of urban water damage and protects safety. And when the sun comes out, the stored water evaporates for a long time, providing moisture to people. And let me show you a video.
このようにあっという間に
As you can see, the water is absorbed right away. This is the slope of the mountain,
水が
the same.
滑り落ちることなく
So the water does not slide down the slope, but it disappears into the surface.
こちら雨の日です。
This is a rainy day.
雨が降り続き
It had been raining the day before, and as you can see, it was still raining when I took this video. So we're going to pour water on the same spot all at once, and the rain is absorbed very quickly even under the rain. So this version, the material has been changed from clinker ash to steel slag. Even with the material change, the permeability remains the same. So the water will be retained,
このように放水した水
and this permeated water doesn't fall down easily. So this is quite an eco-friendly technology. Let me explain our company.
クリンカロードの工事
Klinka Road, we offer the construction and consulting of the Klinka Road. We established ourselves 12 years ago, and we have been awarded of the various awards. And our major customers, we have many electric power companies that we do business with. So majority of our business comes from the transmission power sites construction.
は東アジア
We have 10 already acquired power.
おそらく
Is the transmission tower sites. I'm sure that many people are wondering, why do you need to pave the site of the steel tower? There are two reasons. Need to do that. For example, if the land is left bare, the weed will grow and the stagnation of rainwater will prevent the people from having a comfortable living environment. And if there is no pavement, the surface will be rough. In order to effectively utilize the clinker road, we can solve many problems.
言い換えると
So in other words, people and environment, we can establish the symbiosis between the people and the environment and contribute to the sustainability.
電力会社
And the second reason is it can contribute to the electric power company's business model. So the power company uses clinker road for their transmission tower ground pavement, and they are going to use the clinker ash that they generate to create as a material for the pavement. So they have a responsibility to utilize all the waste that they generate. So utilizing the materials that they generate as a material for the pavement is a contribution to their sustainability initiative. Let me share with you the two advantages of clinker road. First one, it does not require an excessive investment. All you need is a mixer like the one in the picture. We purchased the similar ones in Mongolia and Malaysia locally. And the second point is that it's possible to solve environmental and social problems through the local production and local consumption of waste. The clinker road can also be made from steel slag and molten slag generated from cleaning plants that use gasification melting furnaces. This is a summary of our business from the perspective of the SDGs. Our main business is transmission tower sites, but there are many other sites that need to deal with climate change. So this technology can be much more useful in another type of application. Here is an overview of the technology. Only the clinker ash is used for the clinker road. So as you can see in the photo, we adjust the grain size of the clinker ash and mixer, and then finished by it can also be manufactured in the block factory. This technology started out as a site fitting for the transmission towers. However, right away, today, they are used in places to provide comfortable environment for the people. Our technology is to add the clinker ash more value and to offer comfort to the people living nearby. And this is our business model. As shown in the diagram here, the counterpart has the main role to play. We only transfer our technology and know-how. We have to solve problems such as infrastructure development and job creation through waste recycling. This move has already begun for East Asian countries that rely on coal-fired power generation. We have completed pilot projects in Mongolia and Malaysia. Both countries did not use materials from Japan, but used counterpart workers and locally procured materials. We only dispatched instructors from Japan. The project was implemented in Ulaanbaatar, Mongolia. This is where the instructor is teaching how to apply. In Malaysia, this project was held in the World Heritage City of Melaka. In this way, Malaysia and Japan cooperated in the construction. This is the shot of the launch ceremony. The event was attended by many people, including the mayor of Melaka, government officials, and power companies. This is the water sprinkling ceremony. The gentleman on the right is the mayor of Melaka. So this is a perfect finish. The project has been a huge success. Vietnam project began with the intergovernmental dialogue with Japan. The clinker ash from the Bintan to coal field. Hall, where our company is located. The molten slag generated from the cleaning plant of Munakata City is used for a demonstration test. So after the rain, you have the water applied like that, and you can clearly see that the water is permeable. The summary. Our business is to solve environmental and social problems through the recycling of waste like clinker ash and slag. We are to provide peace of mind and enrichment to the people's lives. All of you, a disaster-resilient society in response to climate change. Let's work together to create such society. So all the videos, we are going to post that on the YouTube. I have the YouTube link available in the document I am going to share with you later. So please take a time to view our technology. Thank you very much.
どうもありがとうございました。これで
Thank you very much, Mr. Umeki. So we've gone through all the prepared presentations. So let's have discussions and Q&A. So I'm so sorry that time is falling behind. But first, First, the presenters, would you like to ask questions among yourself? And we received lots of questions via chat, so we will go through that. So on the presenters on the Asian side, do you have any questions or comments? Please raise them, if any. Are there any questions? Visaru-san, Abi-san, Cruz-san, do you have any questions?
Not from my side, Sachio-san. Thank you.
This question is actually meant for everybody. My question is, with all the technologies that are presented today that I think is really wonderful in facilitating building resiliency, is there a mechanism currently put into play by UN Habitat that allows free exchange of technology information in order for countries to rapidly adopt existing technologies as presented today? And if there is, what's the area of collaboration wherein countries can work together on projects that builds resiliency? Thank you.
わかりました。ありがとうございます。それではこれは、
Thank you very much. So, Koresawa-san.
Yes, I was not expecting you calling me, and the question was actually, I mean, I was thinking something different, but how Habitat can help apply these technologies already explained, and is that the question, Christoph?
Yes, Achu-san. While here in the Philippines, in the metropolis, a lot of the technologies already presented are already being mobilized, but there are opportunities across the country where the learnings from today's meeting can be applied, and I believe also in other Asian countries, a lot of this can be adopted. So what is the current mechanism where we can actually facilitate the free exchange of information to have this adopted, for example, across Asia as presented today?
All right, thank you. I think your question is, in my view, twofold. The first one is information sharing of information on technologies and experiences and field test. This can be easily done. This is actually one of the purposes of this expert group meeting. But I think Sachio-san can provide further how you can access to that information. I think most companies any of you some Asia Pacific countries, so we can probably put up that kind of information or links on our website, as well as, I mean, through other means. That's one. Secondly, beyond the information sharing, how we can facilitate, application of these technologies. I already put some idea or proposal in the chat box. We have been making a request to the various potential donors, including government of Japan, on specific issues, including green building and green technologies. We are getting some, but there are some other possible channels as well. So the overall budget situation this year is rather tight, but we will probably get some. However, we should continue this kind of effort. exploring different potential donors in Japan as well as other donors as well. So that's what I'm myself and I'm working with my colleagues to do. Does that answer to your question? If not, we can continue discussion, of course. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you very much, Atsushi-san. That was wonderful information, and we look forward to collaborating with the experts who have presented today.
Sachio-san, do you have any follow-up or compliment? To my comments.
はい、わかりました。後ほど、また改めてご案内いたしますけれ
So
ども、
I am going to share with you the information later on,
今回
but
ご発表いただきました資料
for
につ
the
いては、
presentation
すべて
documents
自治体様、企業様のご協力をいただい
will
て、
be
今
supported
後
by all the
国連ハビ
presenters,
タットの
and
ホ
in
ー
the
ムページに
United
公
Nations
開を
Habitat
アップロード
website,
する
we are
予
going
定
to
でございます
upload
の
the
で、
information
ぜ
on
ひ
our
それ
website.
は入手していただ
So
きたい
please
と思
take
い
a
ます。
look
また、
into
個
our
別に
website for the
この会
information.
社の
And
の技
individually,
術をさら
if
に
you are
詳
interested
細に
in
知
a
りたい
certain
とか、
technology of a certain
例えば
company,
深井さんというミー
like
ティングを設けたい
if we
とか、
want to
そ
have
ういうよう
like
な
a
ご要望
meeting
が
with
個
a
別にあ
certain
れば、
company,
それの
we
セットアッ
can
プは私ども
set
の
up
方で
the meeting
させていた
to
だい
meet
ておりま
your
す。それはもう
purpose.
毎年この
So
会議の後
every
に
year, we're
行
doing
われ
this
てい
kind
る
of follow-up
ので、
support.
ぜひそういう機会
So
を活
please
用してい
utilize
ただ
this
きたいと
opportunity to have a dialogue with the pilot project supported by United Nations Habitat. We have been doing
イ
several
ンプリ
pilot
メンテーシ
projects,
ョンを行ったケースという
and
のも多々
we
ご
did
ざいます。
various
で、一
implementation
度だけでは
projects,
なくてです
and
ね、
not only
場
once,
所を変え
but
て、
in
様
different
々な
locations,
形で
in different
繰り返し
projects.
行うということもやっております
So
ので、
we have
我々
continued
と
to
しては
do
ぜ
those
ひそういう
pilot
機会
projects.
も作っていき
So
たい
we are
と
going
い
to
うふうに
continue
思って
this
お
kind
り
of
ます。
pilot project in the future as well.
はい、ありがとうございます。
Thank you.
それではですね、チャットの方
And
に大
in
変
the
たくさ
chat
んの
box, we have
質
received
問をいただいておりますので、
many questions, and
頭から皆さんよろしいでしょうか。日本語、英語両方ありますの
we
で、
have both Japanese and English.
お尋ねして、それに可能な範囲でお答えいただく
And
と
we
いう
are going
ことでお
to
願い
be
いたし
answering
ます。
to your questions.
はい。まずは、東京
So first of
都
all, from the
へ
Tokyo
のご質問で
Metropolitan
ございま
Government,
す。東京都の地域防災計画につ
So
いて、
for the
明快なご
Tokyo's
説明ありがとうござい
disaster
ました。
management,
お
thank you
話
very
しい
much
た
for
だい
your
た市町村以
presentation.
外に、物
Apart
流業者
from
を含
other
めた民間業
municipalities,
者との
are
連
there
携の
any
実
partnership
現の
with the
ご指摘
private
ご説明をい
sectors
ただ
such
きま
as
した。
logistics
先日も
companies?
JR 東日
There
本の
was
停
a
電の際、
JR
近隣のビ
East
ルへの旅客の
Towers
誘導があったと聞いていますが、
stoppage,
その
and
ことで
there
ございます。
were the passengers were encouraged to evacuate to the neighboring facilities. My first, the partnership with the private sectors, like providing supplies and such. So there is a disaster, and the use of the reserved materials, that's one thing, but something needs to be procured. So in Tokyo, with the logistics companies or other companies, we enter into an agreement. So in the case that we need this and that, could you please provide this and that? So the procurement and reservation, both we approach. And then the facilities to serve as accommodations for those people who are stranded. We are preparing the supplies, objects, and also supplies and facilities. We extend grants so people can go to such facilities and they can spend at those facilities for certain days safely. And there has been a big earthquake in Chiba Prefecture. I checked with the person in charge within Tokyo. At railroad stations, there was not a lot of crowds. However, as Tokyo Metropolitan Government, so in order to tackle with the people gathering at the stations, we have the hotels, other facilities, and there is council formed and how people should be moved, the people flow. So we have the drills for that and the trainings for that. Thank you very much. Now is the time for discussion. So could you please turn on your video? So, because this is now a discussion session, if you don't mind. Next, the question to Miracle. So within chat, you've already responded, but this is done in Japanese. So Miracle, how is it with any conflict with the permeable paint? I am so sorry, but could you please respond to this question again? Maybe you're on mute. In Tokyo, it has the water drainage painting in Tokyo's artillery roads. Water draining, meaning if there is an air, so there is a road with gaps. So the rainwater will flow. And the road with low noise pollution. So we can spray, so we can maintain the function through the use of spray. Did this answer your question? Yes, thank you very much. Next.
So next is about the across step garden. So the impact and contribution from the step garden is number one, is offering the space of the greens to the citizens, and number two benefit is that reducing the temperature rise, and number three is saving the energy of using air conditioning. So there are trends for the landscaping on the rooftop and the walls, but the installation complexity and the maintenance cost is the issues and challenge we need to think about. How do you think about the future trend, future expansion of this technology? Well, thank you for your question. So the rooftop landscaping and the wall greenery, the maintenance, the biggest challenge is the maintenance. The structure is not incorporating the plan for the maintenancing. So in terms of cost, so the water irrigation scheme is not incorporated. So it's difficult to maintain the greens without the irrigation system, and the cost will rise to water the plants. And for the wall greening project, there are no maintenance facility. So we need to have an aerial work platform to be installed nearby. And if the area is busy with the traffic, you need to do that during the midnight. So this is the issues for the maintenance. The cost goes up by 3 times, 5 times from the initial planning. So at the design phase, you need to think about allocating a catwalk for doing the maintenance, and think about developing a good facility and environment, and incorporate the maintenance aspect into the initial planning in the design phase. Thank you very much, and that was really useful. Thank you so much. And next question goes to
私どものコレーサー本部長からなので、先ほどのコメントとちょっと重複するかもしれませんが、せっかくのに読ませていただきます。Individual technologies presented by Japanese companies are all superb. If they are applied and combined together, we can expect multiplier effects and demonstration effect as well. Is there any city or town which volunteers to try this model? UN Habitat Row-Up has made a proposal on green buildings and technology mode project this year. But it is not clear how much we can acquire. Yet, I think we should continue our effort along this time. I wonder if we should accept any hands up.
Yeah,
maybe we can have an internal discussion.
You can go ahead.
Yeah, Satya-san,
Yes.
maybe thank you for that, asking for the interest of cities. I think we will be sharing the presentations to our cities, and we will ask them if they will be interested. Of course, it will be in relation to the projects that we are implementing with them. So right now we're working with more than 13 cities in the Philippines. I think this is a very good input for us to share with them, and we can get back to ROAP in case of any interest from the cities. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Okay. もう一つ、クリスから質問を
Another question from Chris with regard to ためとっと。
松尾さんよろしいでしょうか。
松尾さん。
Can ためとっと be applied as part of our floodwater management to detain and retain water in flood-prone areas?
そうですね。降水といっても本当その地域で
It depends on the region. So the flood situation differs. The soil, how permeable it is. So there's all these complicated factors that we need to take into account. So I cannot clearly say yes or no. But basically, like I showed you earlier, so water flow to be prevented. So that kind of a prevention effect is available. But to what degree and what kind of scope? So maybe we need to have multiple installations. So we need to have a plan. So just having one installment doesn't mean that the flood water management can be executed. I hope I answered your question, Chris-san.
Thank you very much for the answer. I think it answers my question.
ありがとうございます。続きまして、クリンカーロードに、質問が来ております。
Question for Clinker Road.
すみません、英語で読みますね。Very interesting initiative, innovative technology. Few questions. One, for the block model, role of the joint in making it permeable. Two, what is the detail for the subgrade materials? Can you elaborate more on the thickness of the clinker road requirements for the normal highway road?
まず一つ目ですね。
So number one, for the block model, the permeability is keen. And I think you're talking about the binder, but for the normal block model, and for the we use the regular cement. So in order to control the permeability, this is the key technology that we have. So the mixture, how we mix the materials and technology and materials, we're using regular things, but how we mix and how we prepare is our technology. So this is about the subgrade materials, utilization of the materials other than the clinker ash. So what is the detail? And for the pavement, in utilizing in Japan, we need to meet the standard for the durability and strength, and also the ingredient. We need to meet the guideline. If we can clear the guideline, we can use any materials in the product. So in the carbon, reducing the carbon emissions, we are utilizing all sorts of waste from the iron materials. And also the electric furnace, not the electric furnace, we are shifting toward also to the electric furnace so that we can diversify the materials that we use. So as long as it meets the criteria, we can use those materials other than the clinker ash. About the thickness, we talked about ABC types and D type. So for the purpose of the usage, the thickness and all the other requirements are set for each usage and each purpose. And for the normal highway road, in the presentation examples, we show you some information, but it cannot be used on the vehicle roads. So it's for the pavement for the pedestrians, like aisles in the greens and the aisles for the pedestrians. So not made for the highway road. This is highly friendly to the environment. So we focus on human and pedestrians, not the vehicles. Thank you.
続きまして、ネパールから、
Next question from Nepal to Miracle. You've already responded in English, but once again, could you respond in Japanese?
Presentation on cooling the buildings by using Miracle. The housing of the poor in Nepal is moving from thatched roof to galvanized iron roof. These are hot, and Miracle can be one of the remedy. I have a question on Miracle. How durable is this paint? How long it works after we apply? よろしくお願いいたします。
まず、トタン屋根、金属の薄い。
So first, the iron thin roof. We can expect this technology. And how long does it last? So for construction materials, paints, there are a lot of things, water soluble or solvent based. There are many types. So depending on the varieties of the paints, anywhere between 5 years to 15 years, we can expect. Of course, it depends on the environment that the paints are used. So if you have any specific questions, maybe you can reach me individually. I hope I answered your question. Next to Fukuoka.
A question for Fukuoka City. Like Tokyo, do you have like a collaboration with the private companies for the disaster mitigation and disaster countermeasures? So for Fukuoka City, so the collaboration with the private sector, not much is being done right now, but in Fukuoka City, after the Kumamoto earthquake, evacuation plan was created, and to support the evacuated people, we developed the prevention of disaster app. So app for those people. So together with the private sectors, we jointly developed this kind of app to support the people evacuated. So that's all.
それでは、これで最後の質問となりますかね。これは、
This is going to be the last question. Is this a question to Daiken?
Techniques for installing rainwater harvesting in a high groundwater area.
高いの近すぎで。
High ground? How do you mean high ground? High groundwater?
地下水が上がっているところという意味です。
ああ、地下水が高いところ。
はい。
When the groundwater is high, basically we write the circles. So when the water level is high, we do the water drainage, and if we can put the liner sheet, we can do it. In Laos, there was a groundwater that is coming up, leveling up. But we did that while draining the water, so we installed. So it's possible. If the water is coming out and going up and elevated too much, maybe it may be impossible, but we should be able to handle in majority of the cases. So we would like to have a check beforehand. Thank you very much. Thank you. So there's lots of discussions going on, but we need to close the meeting.
So now again, to close the meeting from the United Nations Habitat, we'd like to Mr. Koresawa to give us the final remarks. Koresawa-san, please.
ありがとうございます。
Thank you very much for the, I'm going to speak in Japanese.
あまり期待してなかった、私が呼ばれるのをあまり期待してなかったので、
So I was not expecting to provide you with the answers, so I'm not really fully prepared, but
まずはですね、最初の冒頭でもご挨
In the
拶の
beginning, in the
申し上げましたように、
I delivered the speech about
今日発表いただいた皆様、
for all the
日本サイ
presenters for
ド、それから
today, the Japan side,
各国からの発表、
and from
大変有意義
overseas.
な
We were
発
able
表を
to
いた
have
だ
a
いたというふうに
great
思っております。
presentations and a great time receiving all the information from all of
ま
you.
だ十分に相互の議論を深めるっていう段階には今日は
We
ちょ
are
っと
not
時
able
間
to
がなくてで
have
きませんで
enough
したけれ
time
ども、
to have a good
これ
discussion,
をきっかけにです
enough
ね、
discussion,
そういうふうに
but
さらに議論を深めていく。
using this as
そ
a
れは
trigger, we do
個
want
別に
to start
や
our
ってもいいですし、みん
collaboration
なで
and
一緒にやっ
dialogue, and we can do one-on-one or we can do like a group dialogue. So I'm looking forward to continue discussion on this matter in terms of needs and what kind of potential we can provide and what kind of technology that we can provide. We are determined to continue this kind of matching initiative. So Hoshino-san, Sachio-san will take the lead to implement the follow-up action, and thank you for that. And in the chat and in the Q&A session, we repeated the point that each technology is quite important and of high value. And if we can collaborate and integrate to seek for the synergy effect, and we hope that we can deliver more by collaborating. And utilizing single technology through UN Habitat is one option. However, we can have like a collective approach and working together and working on the case study on the certain city to have like a comprehensive approach. We need fund to do that. And as I said, for this year, in order to explore this kind of possibility, we are talking with the Japanese government and the clean building and clean technology. However, we are not expecting to be approved of the big amount of budget, but we have an energy of budget held by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. We want to utilize those funds to initiate those projects. And so beforehand, we can create a package integrating all the technologies that you presented. Like a sponge city in China is one good example. Like a nature-based and eco-based solutions are adopted in China. And China is creating like a one package called Sponge City. So I think this is quite important, that lesson that we can learn from. Maybe we don't have like a sponge name, but like a tametoto or give some wording, which is unique in Fukuoka, or not only Fukuoka, but to have express our concept into one word in one package and integrate all the technologies in one package and try to propose that and to get the budget for that kind of project. So for the Asia and Africa, that will be held next year. And next week, Asia Pacific Urban Summit will be held, and I will be attending. And the next day, we have a Smart City Summit held in Yokohama. And next year, we have Asia Pacific Water Summit will be held in Kumamoto. So using those opportunity, and our UN Habitat will be holding in Holland event, the summit there. So utilizing those opportunities, we do want to sell this package to the stakeholders. So I'm looking forward to the collaboration in creating a package. Like a Fukuoka method is being implemented already, and we can make like a catalog and a menu and create one package that we can effectively sell these great technology solutions to the overseas and many cities. So we look forward to working with you and also exchange opinions and share feedbacks and have discussions. So I'm looking forward to talking with you again. So today, thank you for taking your time to attend this meeting. And thank you for spending this time and making preparation and attending in the discussion. Thank you so much. This has been a great opportunity for us to exchange opinions. Thank you, Koresawa-san. So thank you all the speakers and all the people attended. Thank you for taking your time to attend this meeting. So all the presenters, thank you so much for making your presentations despite your busy schedule. And really appreciate for that, as Koresawa-san said. Today is the starting point and the starting point for all sorts of collaboration that we can make in the future. So some information, after this meeting, we are going to be sending out the questionnaire and emailing you the questionnaire in order to improve the meetings. If there are any certain topics and certain technology that you want to talk in the future sessions, please let us know. And in the chat box, we receive many questions, and all the presentation documents will be uploaded on the UN Habitat's website. So they will be uploaded. So please wait for a while until our job is complete. And Mori and Mezawa-san from Intergroup were the translator for this meeting. Thank you very much. And all of you, we take a photo on so that we can take a photo.
はい、ありがとうございます。大勢いらっしゃるので、
Thank you very much. I want to take several photos because we have so many participants. So please wait for a while.
はい、ありがとうございました。
Thank you.
それでは大変拙い進行でございましたけれども。
Thank you very much. And I would like to conclude the meeting and look forward to talking to you again. So thank you very much. We're going to close the meeting.
Bye bye. 失礼します。
ありがとうございます。
Hello, bye bye, bye bye. Okay, Suji, bye bye.
Hi, Jawad. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Bye bye very much. I enjoyed.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Okay, bye bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Mr. To. Thank you. Thank you. Bye bye. See you.
.じゃあ皆さんどうもありがとうございました。失礼します。
はい、ありがとうございました。
失礼します。